have three people sign up ahead of time. However, two of those public comments by Mr. Derek Lyle and Mr. Brian Newman were for Bill 2025-006, which is not on our committee agenda. In order to speak a public comment in committee, the item has to be on the committee agenda. We did have one individual, Mr. Manon Hall, sign up ahead of time for an item that is on our committee agenda, speaking on BL 2025-1008 in support. Mr. Hall, please go ahead.
Hey, I'm really excited about this. This is a common sense step that the state has finally given us an option to, provide affordable housing bonuses on properties that we've desperately needed. And so I hope that y'all will see that and acknowledge that that's a great thing we can add into our code, and that hopefully people building in Nashville will be able to utilize. And I'm excited to see hopefully a new tool for housing in Nashville. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Is there anybody else in the gallery seeking to be recognized on an item that is on the committee agenda? Seeing none, we'll now move on to our consent agenda. I currently have everything on the consent agenda except for item 1, BL 2025-1103, item 2, BL 2025-1104, item 3, RS 2025-1562, and item 4, RS 2025-1563. Are there any other items that need to come off the consent agenda? Councilmember Allen.
I'm just verifying you said 1063 is not on consent.
1063. Which item is that?
Sorry, that may be the wrong. Never mind.
I think that might be the wrong.
Okay, 1006 needs to come off. You may have said that also. 1008.
1008. Item
Sorry,
8, BL 2025-108 will not be on the consent agenda. Okay. And I'm being told item 11, BL 2025-1108 will also be not on the consent agenda. Councilmember Cap, 1 second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to confirm that items 1, 2, and 3 are not on the consent agenda.
That's correct. 1, 2, 3, and yes, 1, 2, and 3 are off consent. Any other items need to come off consent? Okay, seeing none, I'll now proceed to read captions of the items on the consent agenda. First is agenda item 5, RS 2025-1596, sponsors Toombs, Horton, Welsh, Gad, and Ewing, a resolution authorizing grants not exceeding $10,800,000 from the Barnes Fund for Affordable Housing to certain nonprofits for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable workplace housing. Item 6, RS 2025-1614, sponsors Horton and Evan Siegel, a resolution authorizing the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County to abandon a fire hydrant assembly and to accept new public water main and fire hydrant assembly for property located at 1718 Jefferson Street, also known as 1712 Jefferson Street Development. Item 7, a late filed resolution, sponsors Toombs, a resolution to approve the Second Amendment to a grant contract for constructing affordable housing approved by RS 2022-1857 between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Housing Trust Fund Commission and Project Return, Inc. Item 9, BL 2025-1102, sponsors Taylor, Toombs, Horton, Welsh, Gad, Hill, and Ellis, an ordinance approving a lease agreement by and between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Public Education and United Way of Middle Tennessee, doing business as United Way of Greater Nashville. Item 10, BL 2025-1107, sponsors Evans, Toombs, Evan Siegel, Horton, Vo, Welsh, Gad, Hill, Allen, and Ewing, an ordinance approving greenway conservation easement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation and Beezer Homes, LLC, for greenway improvements at 0 Kemp Drive. Item 12, BL 2025-1109, sponsors Rutherford, Horton, and Evan Siegel, an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County to accept new public sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 935 Barnes Road. Item 12, BL 2025-1110, sponsors Cash, Horton, Evans, Siegel, and Hill, an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County to abandon existing public water main and easements and to accept new public water main, the relocation of fire hydrant assemblies and easements for property located at 2415 Vanderbilt Place, also known as Vanderbilt University Stevenson Center. Item 14, BL 2025-1111, sponsors Coupin, Horton, and Evans Siegel, an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County to abandon existing public water main, fire hydrant assembly, and easements, to accept new public water main, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements for two properties located at 1 Titans Way and 100 Woodland Street, also known as South 2nd Street Phase 2. And that concludes the consent agenda. Is there any other items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, do we have a motion? Moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Any not voting? Consent agenda is approved. 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. I'll now move on to items not on the consent agenda. First of which is item 1, BL 2025-1103, sponsors Cap, Taylor, Toombs, and Horton. An ordinance approving Amendment 1 to the Case Place redevelopment plan and Amendment 2 to the Jefferson Street redevelopment plan. I'll go first to the sponsor, Councilmember Cap. You are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. With respect to Casey Place redevelopment, at least, the substance of this is something that the council has approved already, but it needs to be reapproved in light of amendments to TIF that we had done a few years ago. And so MDHA is here. I'll move approval, and if the chair would not mind me calling up MDHA to answer some questions.
Yes, I believe we have a representative from MDHA. Please introduce yourself for us, please.
Thank you. Joe Kane, Director of Urban Development with MDHA. Councilman explained this correctly. In 2019, there was some amendments put in place as a result of tax increment financing. At that time, there was a timing issue on to who should approve the amendments first, and that timing was out of sequence. And this is going back to correct that sequence.
Thank you for that explanation.
Just to clarify, the who is us and the MDHA board.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you very much.
And this runs in tandem in a certain sense with item number 3 on the agenda, which I know we'll get to in due time. But the substance of this is something that the council has already approved, at least with respect to the Casey Place redevelopment plan. And with that, I move approval.
Thank you. For any further discussion? Councilmember Allen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This may be more appropriate for the resolution that's coming, but what this talks about is requiring a 7 to 10 year review and to go over the priorities, which is something that the Tax Abatement Study and Formulating Committee recommends for all things where we give tax incentives for public good. And so I have been looking on the MDHA website just in hopes of seeing a little bit more information about the surveys that were done. And so I would ask if that information is available and where we can find it. And if it's not appropriate for this, I'll still just go ahead and ask, and it'll answer the question when we get to the resolution.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'll go back to the lead sponsor here. Councilmember Cap, you're recognized.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Allen, for the question. Yes, that is directly germane to item number 3, but because they are so related, I certainly have no problem getting into it now. Those survey results have been compiled, and item number 3 is expressly about implementing the recommendations of those surveys, but I'll ask MDHA to speak more directly to that.
Thank you. Yes, we did a number of surveys. We did some direct mailings out to people trying to get community meetings put together. It actually was, the attendance on it was not at all what we thought it would be. So we actually extended it. We actually did some meetings, actually went countywide outside of the focus group where the redevelopment district was to try and get some additional input from citizens of Nashville with that. And what you have seen is the result of that. Some of those meetings we had in person, some of them were hybrid, some of them were virtual as well with that. We do have those. It's a little bit buried on our website. I understand why you can't find it. I'll be glad to send you some links directly to where those are.
Thank you for that explanation. Councilmember Allen?
Yes, I would love to get those links and maybe they should show up in the minutes of the meetings or something. I mean, I went back and looked at the June 9th meeting, whatever it was, and just would love to have seen it for self. So if you can send me that, that'd be great. Thank
Be
you.
glad to.
Thank you. Councilmember Cap?
Yes, it had been my understanding that MDHA was going to make those available to the whole council. So I'd ask that those just be distributed through the council office to the entire council tomorrow morning, please.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? Item 1 is recommended for approval, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Next is BL 2025-1104, sponsors Cap, Parker, Toombs, and Horton, an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the East Bank redevelopment plan. I'll go first again to the lead sponsor, Councilmember Cap, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. The East Bank Redevelopment District was created in 1996. It is due to expire at the end of the year. This in front of us extends it for 1 year. My intention in seeking that 1 year extension is to undertake a community discussion and feedback process for amending the plan throughout 2026. And so this 1 year extension will allow that to happen. I expect it to be a robust and important conversation. The only change that is being made to the redevelopment district for this 1 year extension is it removes the actual East Bank from the redevelopment district area. So anything west of I-24 would no longer be part of the redevelopment district in this 1 year extension, but otherwise it holds everything else constant for 1 year while we work on amendments. And with that, I move approval.
Thank you. We've heard from the sponsors. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Any not voting? Item 2 is recommended for approval, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Next is item 3, RS 2025-1562, sponsors Cap, Toombs, Horton, Allen, and Ewing. A resolution approving the activities and improvements eligible for tax increment financing in the Case Place redevelopment plan. I'll go first again to the lead sponsor, Councilmember Cap, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And this is the resolution that the survey response is attached to. This, if approved, will allow for tax increment financing to be issued according to the Casey Place redevelopment plan. So I do have an amendment that I'd like to move and get it on the bill, and then I'd like to throw it to MDHA to explain the survey results.
You need to move the bill, please.
Move the bill.
Any further discussion? Oh,
And I'd like to move the amendment.
and move the amendment. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the amendment?
This amendment just changes some of the language. The earlier version said that the TIF money could go to affordable housing. That's not a quite accurate use of TIF under state law. So it is infrastructure and support for the construction of affordable housing. So this amendment merely clarifies that language, consistent with the survey results.
Thank you for that explanation. Any further discussion on the amendment? Councilmember Allen, you are recognized. Not on the amendment. Okay. No further discussion on the amendment. All in favor? Any against? Any not voting? Recommend approval of the amendment, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. We are now in consideration of the resolution as amended. Councilmember Allen, were you seeking to be recognized at this point? You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, in a lot of discussions that happened on the tax abatement study and formulating committee, and TIF is sort of a subset of that. Among the public needs that were discussed, which I appreciate the email from Mr. Kane that says that the priorities are land acquisition and infrastructure for affordable housing, transportation, infrastructure of all types, and historic preservation where appropriate. Two of the other topics that often came up in our discussions about current public needs are childcare and grocery stores. And again, TIF is restricted in what it can do, and I don't know if land acquisition and infrastructure supporting those is a possibility. But I do not see the language lining out these priorities in the bill itself, I see it in an email that we got from Mr. Kane. So I guess, again, my question would be, looking forward to seeing those surveys. And where is this codified within the bill or the redevelopment district?
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Joe Kane, again. These are priorities that we are addressing. These were the highest ones that came in. That does not exclude us from looking at these other properties. We got one or two on daycare. We got several more responses related to grocery stores, especially where there are food deserts in the area, Casey being one of those.
Thank you for that explanation. Could you say it again, please, Councilmember Allen?
And then just to clarify, where is that spelled out in the bill itself?
I'm sorry, on the amendment, on the resolution, it says the priorities are. And so the other would be falling under what we basically following state legislation for authorized uses.
Got it. Thank you for that additional explanation. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all in favor? Any against? Any not voting? Recommend approval of the bill as amended, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Next is item 4, RS 2025-1563, sponsors Taylor, Toombs, Horton, Allen, Ellis, and Coupin, a resolution approving the activities and improvements eligible for tax increment financing in the Jefferson Street redevelopment plan. We are not joined here today by the lead sponsor, although he did give us a letter for approval. Do we have a committee member who is willing to move approval on his behalf? Councilmember Allen moved and seconded. He also has an amendment here. He's asking us to approve. Do we have a movement? Do we have a movement on the amendment?
Move the amendment.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Being none, all in favor? Any against? Any not voting? Recommend approval of the amendment, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. We're now in discussion of the bill or the resolution as amended. Do we have any discussion on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Any not voting? Recommend approval of the resolution as amended, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Next is item 8, BL 2025-1008, sponsors Allen, Rutherford, Coupin, Nash, Gamble, Evans, Siegel, Suara, Bradford, Porterfield, Huffman, Gadd, Ewing, Welsh, Benedict, and Lee, an ordinance establishing a voluntary attainable housing incentive program for the Metropolitan, Nashville, and Davidson County for the purpose of authorizing certain incentives to be provided to property owners who seek to build multifamily attainable housing. We are joined here by Allen is the lead sponsor. Councilmember Allen, you should be recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to end up deferring this to track with other bills that it is related to, but before I do that, I would love to call on the planning table to kind of give us a brief recap of what it will be doing.
Thank you, Councilmember. Planning, you're recognized.
Angie Hubbard, Housing Director, Metro Planning. As a gentleman at public hearing noted, this is a new tool available to local governments passed by the General Assembly a couple of years ago to allow cities to have density bonuses, parking, relieve some parking requirements and other incentives to incentivize affordability in housing. This is a purely market-driven incentive. There's no money that Metro has to subsidize any of the affordability. So as we are looking at various zoning districts, the state law is very specific. As you will note in this enabling legislation, the process on how it has to be reviewed, the information that must be included. Every time we look at where we want to incentivize this, we're calibrating that based on what level of affordability can be achieved in a particular zoning district so that we're not giving too much away or not getting enough to get that level of affordability without any subsidy, because we need affordability across all income ranges. This isn't intended to stand as a standalone to do deep affordability. Again, we require some other subsidy with that. We just wanted to have an opportunity just to mention what this is, and it does need to track because our first zoning district that we're introducing this with is in the new RL district, and this needs to be considered after the final RL is determined. So that's why we're asking for this to track along behind that.
Thank you, Ms. Hubbard. Thank you for that explanation. Councilmember Allen, you're recognized again.
So thank you. With thanks to all my many co-sponsors on this, I would like to ask for deferral to January 20th. And that's the second reading I'm deferring.
Thank you. We have a motion for deferral to January 20th, did you say? To January 20th. Any discussion on, moved and seconded, any discussion on the deferral? Seeing none, all in favor? Any against? Any not voting? Recommend deferral to January 20th, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. Final item not on consent is item 11, BL 2025-1108, sponsors Swara, Horton, Evans Siegel, Welsh, Hill, Allen, Ellis, Gamble, Ewing, Porterfield, Cap, and Webb, an ordinance authorizing the renaming of South Street to King Hollins Avenue. Ms. Swara, we're joined by the lead sponsor. You. Councilmember Swara, you are the lead sponsor. We're on item 11 regarding King Hollins Avenue. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so this is a bill that is renaming South Street for an amazing Nashvilleian who spent his life in Nashville. Is one of the civil rights icons, went to jail, and the street that we're renaming is the street where he lived and grew up in, and his family is. And so when you look at the Planning Commission's meeting, it has overwhelming approval by current CM, the former council members approve. So it's a great thing. A lot of people in NGL are in support, and so we have that. But what we do not have is that anytime you're doing a street renaming, you want the emergency services to look at it, make sure there's nothing that will impede 911 call, and that is missing. That step has not taken place. And so in order for us to be able to have that before our approval, I'm requesting a 2-meeting deferral to allow that to happen.
Motion for a 2-meeting Oh, we need a committee member. Thank you. We have a motion for a 2-meeting, motion and second for a 2-meeting deferral. Any discussion on the 2-meeting deferral? Seeing none, all in favor? Any against? Any not voting? We recommend a 2-meeting deferral. 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. That was our final item, not on consent. That concludes the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Committee. Thank you.